Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Ambrose Blowfield here for the Sales Mastery Company. And today we're talking about beating industry giants. This is all about taking down your number one opposition in the marketplace, specifically if they're a large corporation, maybe a multinational corporation, or simply a dominant player in the local industry that you operate in. Today is about helping you understand some of the fundamentals in terms of your mindset and your actions and behaviors as a sales team or as a business owner in order to be David and taking down Goliath. Now, hopefully, if you pre-registered for this LinkedIn Live and this video today, you'll already downloaded the workbook. If you haven't, make sure you send us a message in the comments, depending on the social media platform that you're operating on, or likewise, make sure you send an email to admin@salesmasterycompany.com. And if you do, you should see a document like this, the secrets of taking on large players in your marketplace. As you can see for the image, this is about you taking down the giant in your sector. The second page has got some brief background and welcome message from myself. And of course, the third one is what I want to hone into. This should only be 15 minutes or less. This is a subject that we've taken from our Sales Mastery Academy. We hold people accountable for doing just that. How do you, as a relatively small player, take down a giant? If you are from the largest player in the marketplace, or you are from a large corporate with deep resources, you probably don't need to watch this video, because then you're unlike most of our customers. Now, I came out of Procter & Gamble, one of the giants of industry in the consumer goods market. I came out of Robert Half International, a giant in the financial recruitment sector. If this is what you are, you're large already. Don't listen. I want to share some secrets with people who are going to take you down. Okay, right. So first things first. I want us to remember that not only is it about size, but it could be about age, it could be about relationships, any number of reasons why you might feel like a small David taking on a large Goliath. And so the one thing we've got to be clear about is, as a business, we want to make sure we understand what we are, and we need to understand what we're not, and we need to accept where we are. The first step to compete successfully and confidently is accept what you are as a business today. It may not be where you're going to be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, but just accept where you are. Secondly, by doing so, you will avoid getting sucked into the trap, which is we're going to compete on an even playing field. It's not even if they're a multinational corporation. It's not even if their marketing budget is 10 times yours. It's not even if they've been in the marketplace for 30 years longer than you. It's not equal. It's not even. It might not even be perceived to be fair, but it doesn't matter. Do not play the game of where they are. Learn to play the game of where you are. And of course, to position yourself in clients or prospective clients' minds that we are different. We don't want to be another them. We want to be the best version of ourselves. So the first thing is to be accepting of your current position and to make sure all members of your sales and marketing team are aligned to that. As I've said, whether you're working in sales or you're a sales leader or you're a business owner, you want to get alignment around this and have a discussion around today's topic. So as I said, if you put a comment in the section and say, please, can you give me the workbook, then we'll get it to you, or send us email and admin@themarketingcompany.com. Number two, please expect that it will not be easy. It should not be easy for you to take down a giant or large player in your marketplace. The chances are it took them decades to get to their position. The fact that you're even thinking about rivaling them already says wonderful things around your mindset and around your ambition, but it also says they're not that secure that if someone like you can think about taking them down. So expect you're going to get knockbacks. You're going to get knockbacks from them. They will attack you and maybe knife you in the back and do the dirty on you. They might manipulate your client you're going after into signing contracts long-term with minimal opportunity to buy from you. Get knockbacks from customers because they don't want to admit that buying from the large player in the marketplace was a stupid idea. But you're going to get knockbacks from multiple areas. You need to prepare mentally for that. Next up, one of the things, having worked at large corporates, although Procter & Gamble and Robert Half International, I think, were excellent at this, but by working at large corporates, I ended up with lots of colleagues at networking industry events or networking events, and I talked to them. I found a lot of them quite lazy because they knew they were the big player. They knew they were the biggest kid in the playground, so to speak. And if some cases, They really manipulated that over their clients, and in some cases manipulated over their suppliers. Now, I didn't experience that, so I'm not commenting from a perspective of hurt, going, oh, I think those companies have got it wrong. I think the reasons why they're both the best in their fields globally is that they don't have this attitude. But one thing I've seen from small to medium-sized businesses, which is 99% of our clients for the last 2 decades, is they have a degree of humility and a willingness to learn and to grow. That is a starting point of your next opportunity. A typical company that's fighting to win a prospective large client, for example, off a large supplier or competitor in the marketplace, will often have the hunger that after they've done a meeting, after they've done a phone call, that they'll engage with that and stop and put into their CRM or have a discussion of what could I have improved on my proposal? What could I have improved on that email? What could I do to improve on that meeting? What could I do on that webcam meeting? What could I do on that phone call follow-up? They look for improvements. When you're a large player by nature, as Jim Collins said in the book Good to Great, that good is the enemy of great. And when these large players are good, and especially if they're dominant, they'll often behave as if they're good and dominant, which means they get lazy. So keeping on learning, keeping hungry, keeping humble, working together and have an attitude of growth and learning is going to be a huge advantage in the medium to long term. Next up, working together. What I can guarantee you is you're not going to outspend them if you're David and they're Goliath, which means you as a sales team need to align yourself with the marketing team to think about our messaging, thinking about our learning, thinking about a target customer or avatar or target customer profile, which is what we teach in the academy from the account management side of things. Again, you've got to be clear on those aspects and get alignment around that. You can be nimble if they're just big. You can be smart if they spend lots of money and going to outspend you. So alignment between sales and marketing also becomes critically important, so that if your sales team is going through the process of wearing down this client in order to work with you, and then they think, oh, I'm not sure, but maybe I could work with you one day. And then they jump onto your social media or they jump onto your website or they start asking around or reading articles that you publish. Then those marry up to what the sales team is pitching. If you have an inactive marketing team and the customers being approached by your sales team, they could well be bowled over by how dynamic your sales team is, but they're looking for verification. If you think about landing a large, prosperous customer of yours and you're going toe-to-toe with a large player or a Goliath, so to speak, what they're thinking is, what are the risks of me moving down the food chain and working with a smaller supplier? And they're thinking, crikey, they don't have the brand reputation. They don't have the scale. They don't have the team. So what are they looking for? They're looking for reasons, in some cases, not to use you. Don't let your marketing prove that point. Publishing articles, blogs, developing your website, your social media, your brand positioning, your sponsorship, your PR activities, that all helps. Next up, personalization. This is where I'd like you to go. The facts are you might not be their size, and that's okay. Next up, you need to have the mindset to realize that not everybody wants to work with the biggest supplier in your sector. They might have done that in the past. Maybe it's the medical sector where they've used equipment and technology from 2 major global suppliers. But if there's a third supplier, that third supplier must exist for a reason. They're probably a 20th of the size of number 1 and 2 in the marketplace. Think about a cola drink. There's typically Pepsi and there's typically Coca-Cola. There's normally a third player in a local marketplace. They're a lot smaller, but people still drink them. The fact remains is there's always room for more. Typically, the top 3 make the bulk of the sales. So even if there's only 2, there's typically a third that's still a player in the marketplace. So you've got to have the mindset to remember we are what we are, they are what they are. And our job, our secret, our strategy to taking down Goliath is to play a game we can win, not try to play a game that they're going to win. So what you can do is you can start to think about ways that in your vocabulary, in your speech, in your pitch, in your presentation, that you start to leverage the relative size and strength of your opposition and to leverage it against them. No, I don't mean badmouth them. I don't mean talk in derogatory fashion to them, because my clients tend to be moral business owners and moral salespeople. And so they're not even going to be very good at that strategy. And I wouldn't even know how to teach that strategy because that's not how I'm wired. It doesn't align to my value system. But what you can do is leverage somebody's perceived internationalness or scale, and to leverage the fact that you're not those things. For example, if there's a large national player that you're going toe-to-toe for, most people would accept that large allows them to buy cheaper. A large allows them to do a lot of big stuff. But as most people would experience with their bank, with their insurance company, or their telephonic communications person, such as the local national provider, or maybe someone like Vodafone, they know that large means lots of customers. Lots of customers mean you need to treat them like a number. And most of us get deeply frustrated by that. So you could leverage a large national player and say to a client in the sales process, how responsive do you want the account manager to be? How responsive would you like us to be? And they'll probably go, very responsive. And then you ask the question, why is that? And they'll probably turn around and go, well, if you're responsive, decisions are made quickly so I can get about my business, be more profitable, be more productive. And you go, right. So in summary, you want a responsive supplier. And they would go, yes. And you're like, okay, so they want to work with me because we're responsive. And then you say, out of interest, what have been some of your frustrations working with a large supplier of, say, insurance or banking or telephones? And they might go, oh, I hate hanging on the line. I hate being treated like a number. And you say, well, in the position you're saying, maybe use us or use your current supplier, you can think about it in a similar context. We're the young, hungry people, like you said, responsive, always there at your beck and call. And some people, not me, but some people would often define your current supplier as someone who may have so many clients, they have to treat them a little bit more like a number. What's been your experience of that? You're not saying that's happened. And then probably will go, you know what? There have been a few times I've thought about that. And you're like, great. I'm now leveraging the doubt of that. Likewise, if we're pitching on sales training, yes, we've trained into 30 different countries around the world at different times through conferences and other things that have been live streamed. But most of our clients are in places like Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So what we'll say is if someone says, we're comparing you at Sales Mastery to a large American supplier of coaching and sales training, and we'll say, look, here in Canada or here in Australia, if you want to work with a large corporate entity that's been training for decades, produced American-based material that your team then have to adapt to a local market, and you'll be certainly further down the food chain. If you want that with a big name over the door and the price that goes with it, you're welcome to choose them. But if you want to work with an Australasian-based business whose heart's in business, that works alongside small to medium family businesses around the world, that's going to go in and fight alongside you, then I'd like you to consider us. And if you notice what I've done there is I've said that's what they are, and everyone's going to accept that's what they are. That's partly why people buy them. And if you want that, go for it, because I can't be that. I don't want to be that. But if you want what we offer, then choose us. It's really important to get your team aligned to that. So in summary, and as I said, this comes from our Sales Mastery Academy, and this is a short, sharp snippet because we try to keep these to 15 minutes or less where possible on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and other forms of social media. You've got to have the right mindset first. And then you've got to accept where you are as a team. And you've got to accept that you are not Goliath. In fact, I don't want you to be the largest player. I want you to be the most profitable, the most happy, the most motivated, the most purposeful out there. So learn to leverage their strengths or size, as I just did, against them, and learn to celebrate and leverage the strengths and the value proposition of what you are. And therefore, you'll be able to, over time, wear down Goliath's strengths, over time, strengthen your David-like ability to be responsive, and that way you'll be successful moving forward. As I said before, this comes from our Sales Mastery Academy, and the last thing I want to leave you with is just remember that this area is an area you can use for going after new business, which is one of the 4 growth areas of sales. At the same time, you can use this almost for account management, so you keep re-winning the clients you started to win off the Goliath. So you can leverage this into 2 of the 4 growth areas. Arguably, you will need the sales skills to be able to run persuasive meetings, to be able to confidently negotiate and sell your benefits and value proposition rather than sell on price. As I said, a large Goliath probably buys better than you. therefore probably buys cheaper than you, so could probably undercut you. So going into a price war is never going to be a solution for 99% of you out there listening to this right now. And then finally, even if you are able to grow, you're going to need in some way to scale your inbound process as well as scaling your sales team. That's the fourth area to keep in mind. If you do want to have a further chat to us, if you've downloaded the PDF, you can click to book in for a scale-up call. As I said, if you can't get the link, if you haven't got the download, simply email admin@salesmasterycompany.com. Let's book in for a 15-minute phone conversation, find out where you are, find out where you're going, and then hopefully we can help you take steps to get there more easily. It's a quick and easy phone call, and you may even qualify for 45 minutes with myself where I'll give you free sales strategy advice. As always, I'm Ambrose from the Sales Mastery Company. Thanks for attending this live, or thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you're watching it in video form, but more importantly, take action today.